This is Listen Lakeland, the show that keeps you up to date on all the things that make our city a great place to live, work, and play. Today's host has more than 20 years of experience as a corporate leader and is responsible for Geico Insurance's countrywide Spanish operations. She's a graduate of Auburn University's Executive MBA program and a veteran of the U.S. Army Reserves. Since relocating to Lakeland in 2021, she's been an active member in the local community and is dedicated to strengthening business partnerships. Please welcome your host, Beatrice Dela Pena.
Welcome to the good life.
Thank you for joining me today. I'm Beatrice Dela Pena, and it's great to be hosting the Hispanic Heritage episode of Listen Lakeland. This show is an extension of Lakeland Vision, and for over 2 decades, Lakeland Vision has been a voice for the citizens of Lakeland, working with community stakeholders to create a bright vision for our city. Today, we will be talking about Hispanic Heritage Month. And a lot of people don't know this, but Hispanic Heritage Month runs September 15th through October 15th, and we're only a few days away from the official start date. Observance of the holiday started in 1968 when it was only 1 week. It wasn't until 1988 that our government formally recognized it, and then it became a month. The day of September 15th is significant because it's the anniversary of independence from Spain for many Latin American countries who, prior to becoming individual countries, were states of the Central American Federation. There are also several significant dates that fall within the month. I lead Geico Spanish operations, and we have just under 1,000 bilingual associates who are primarily Hispanic and service a Hispanic customer base. At Geico, we are very proud to be leaders in the insurance space, offering Spanish language options. We celebrate the rich diversity of our customers and associates, and we love engaging with our local communities. Speaking of celebrating rich diversity and leaders, we have some amazing guests, some very influential Hispanic leaders who will share how they serve across Polk County, including the city of Lakeland. So joining us today, we have first and foremost Teresa Martinez, who's a local advocate for the Hispanic community. Among many other things, she is the editor of Viva Polk magazine and serves on the board of trustees with Polk State College. Next, we have Dr. Angela Garcia Falconetti, who has been with Polk State and the college president since 2017. She has held countless roles and serves on many boards. She is a native Floridian and has decades of service to students and the community. And certainly last but not least, we have Commissioner Martha Santiago, who serves on the Polk County Board of Commissioners and has represented District 4 since 2018. She also serves as the chair on the commission. Originally from New York, she has a passion for helping people and communities. Thank you all for being here. I am so excited to join you all today and for us to have this conversation. Now, before I ask each of you a specific question about your professional work and roles, let's dive into your Hispanic backgrounds. So culture, as we know, is personal. My own family immigrated from Mexico 1 generation before me, so I'm first generation Mexican American, and it was for socioeconomic reasons and to provide more opportunity for our family. A lot of people don't know, but Spanish was actually my first language, and I learned English in school. I grew up with a mixed Mexican American culture. So can each of you please tell us a little bit about your own Hispanic background, where you and your family are from, and what brought your family to the United States and when? So we'll have Dr. Falconetti kick us off. So Dr. Falconetti, we'll start with you.
Well, thank you so much. And first, I'd like to say, listen, Lakeland, Beatrice is really impressive. So I'm thrilled that you're hosting this today, and I'm honored to be alongside our District Board of Trustees Chair, Teresa Martinez, and also our Commissioner of Polk County, Dr. Martha Santiago. So thank you for having all three of us here. My family came here with nothing from Cuba. I naturally was born here in the United States, but my parents came through, my mother through New York, Spain, New York, and then ended up in Jacksonville. My father's a child through Miami. And so English was not my first language, although much like many of us who are born here in this country, it becomes our first language over time. And so I've been very honored throughout the course of my life and throughout the course of my career to proceed, as my grandparents used to say, and my parents, but mostly my grandmothers, who never really had a profession. nor an education. They said, prepare yourself for life, as we say in Spanish, prepárate para la vida. And so I think I took that a little too far. That was what my final grandmother who lived said. You have a doctorate and 2 postdocs. What are you going to do with all of that, And so I'm just honored, full circle, to give back to the individuals who have honored me and my family, much like the 2 individuals here who are with us today, our commissioner and our board chair, but also our students and our faculty and our staff and our community, to ensure that our students are successful and that they have the opportunities here in this country that I was privy to because of my parents' sacrifices and my grandparents' sacrifices. So I am one proud first-generation Cuban American who loves the culture and could not be more fulfilled in my career to give back what my parents have given me and my grandparents to our students.
Yeah, how wonderful. How wonderful that all comes full circle and you're able to now be in the position of giving others the same opportunity. So next we'll jump over to Commissioner Santiago. So we'll let you tell us your story and about your family and your background.
Well, first of all, thank you, Beatrice, for having us, and thank you to Listen Lakeland. This is an exciting opportunity to share about ourselves for Hispanic Heritage Month. And I'm always honored to be among these 2 ladies and my friends. My family came in the 1940s from Puerto Rico to New York for economic reasons, for a better life, for better opportunities. And thank God that they did take advantage of that, and they were able to be business people. My mom was a homeowner and a housekeeper and took care of us, the 6 of us in the family. And my father was a business person that had his own business. So we were able to grow up in New York. Like Dr. Falconetti said, my main language was Spanish. I didn't know English until I went to kindergarten. I remember Trust me, I remember way back. I remember being there and all these kids just talking in English so fluently, and I was able to catch 1 or 2 of the words they were saying. But quickly we learned, and we were able to immerse in the culture with that. And I'm glad that happened because, excuse me, without a formal education in Spanish, my mother taught us Spanish, how to read, how to write. So when I became an adult and we left New York to go back to Puerto Rico and I started the university level, I was able to compete with Spanish-speaking students because of what my mother did and help us. Now, have I done that with my own kids? That's a different story for a different time. But anyway, coming here, I'm so proud that we were able to do that, coming here in 1980 to teach in Polk County and being here ever since. I've had the opportunity to pour into different lives of students and adults and Hispanic and non-Hispanic. And back in 1980, I could count the number of Hispanics that we have in Polk County compared to what we have now. So it's just really great to be able to do this. It's a privilege to be able to do this and share it with other people.
Yeah, that's really neat how you have the blended cultures, but you also have the language aspect, and you've been able to kind of put that together even with some of the entrepreneurial background and experiences that your family had and that you've had growing up. So how wonderful for you to use that in the commission seat now.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. And then we'll go to Teresa Martinez, who I know has a really interesting story about her family as well, just like everybody else. So we'll jump to Teresa to tell us about her background and her family.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Beatrice. It's such a pleasure to be here with you, and thank you for inviting, especially these 2 ladies who are actually my best friends and colleagues. We enjoy many, many experiences together that have to do with the Hispanic community, especially Martha, who, you wouldn't believe this, but back in the 80s, we were teaching Spanish in Polk County School. So we go back a long way.
We sure do.
But as far as my family and how we came here, we are Cubans, just like Dr. Falconetti. And we came in 1970, fleeing from communism. Castro invaded his own island, right? Made it communist, and so many people had to leave, and still leaving because we lost freedom. We lost our island. That was the peril of the Caribbean. So we came here, arrived in Miami in March of 1970. My dad was a doctor, and he went to study to revalidate his license. And once he did that, just a year after we were here, we came to Polk County because Polk County General Hospital had a position for an intern. And we couldn't believe it when we got here. Imagine coming from Miami, and I get to Bartow, and I see all these trees with the moss. I thought the trees were crying because, it was very different from Miami. I didn't speak English at all. I had grammatical English, but I didn't speak English, and I didn't have to speak English in Miami. Even my teachers were Hispanic. And here we are. It was very, very difficult at first, but the people were so good to us. And let me tell you, back in Bartow, we must have been 3 or 4 families that spoke Spanish. For a long time, I didn't know that at Bartow High School, there was another girl, and there was a teacher that spoke Spanish. So I had to learn. I had to learn the hard way, sink or swim. And so I learned, and I graduated with honors from Bartow High School, went to Polk Junior College. Who would have told me that one day, this girl that was walking the halls without knowing how to speak the language was going to be the chair of the District Board of Trustees. So, it's a full circle. But I have dedicated my life to teaching Spanish, to making sure that we keep those roots alive, that our cultures are, and when I say cultures, it's the Hispanic cultures are very diverse. So that's what I've done. I've taught. I have done TV, radio, all in Spanish. Now publish Viva Polk magazine, and that's my life.
Yeah, also a very interesting story. And when you said full circle, and we kind of said that earlier too, it is accurate. A lot of these things come full circle in this theme of community, the education aspect, pulling it all together with kind of culture and family stories and making something, which is what I think a lot of people, prior generations who immigrated here, dreamed of. It's utilizing the opportunity to really build that community and the culture. So thank you for sharing that. Teresa, we're going to stick with you, and we're going to pivot a little bit, and we're going to dive right into your work and more of the professional side of what you do with Polk County and Lakeland. And Teresa, you're such a strong advocate for Hispanic heritage, not just this month, but really the entire time you've lived in Polk County. And I'm so happy to have met you. You were one of the first people that I met moving to Florida, and I've learned so much through you and through about other people's work and about your own work. And you're connected to what I would say is just about everybody in the community. So could you tell us more about what growth you have seen with Viva Polk magazine specifically, and just how you have seen Hispanic heritage change in Lakeland and Polk County over the years?
Okay, so let's start with Hispanic heritage. Okay, because we talked about the fact that I came here in the 70s, and by the 80s, there were more families here. Let's take into consideration that there are 20 Spanish-speaking countries, 21 if we consider the United States, because it's the second largest Spanish-speaking country in the world. So we have representation now from about every country. But back then, we had a lot of Mexicans that were here with agriculture. We had some Puerto Rican families, Cubans that were coming in to work in the hospitals and also engineering. And then we started having these visits to each other's houses to make sure that we could celebrate our heritage, eat our food, maybe dance a little. And they were actually the Puerto Ricans who started the first Hispanic club, which after a few years we started gathering at one park. And we wouldn't even sell anything. We just bring our food and we sit around the park. The second year, we started bringing more people in and started selling a little few empanadas and croquetas, and then it became more and more of a festival where people brought their businesses, etc., and it became so big that we had to go to Barnett Family Park. And the first year that we were there, we had something like 30,000 people come. And
that's amazing.
That was about 27 years ago. Okay, it was amazing. No, not 27 years ago. We started 27 years ago, but the big show up of 30,000 people, that was probably 12 years ago. Okay, and so that became so big. Eduardo Tapia was the one that organized that, and the beautiful thing about the Hispanic Festival was that it was strictly to raise funds for education, because education is the only thing that no one can take away from you. So we had that. I was on the board for the Hispanic Club of Lakeland, ended up being the president and the chair of that festival. We did such beautiful work there, all of us. And it's a shame that it's no longer happening in Lakeland, especially to raise funds for Polk State College mainly. And that's what we did. So you asked about the magazine. Well, that started 5 years ago. But if I go back a little bit, you ask about the work that I've done. I started teaching at Lakeland High School. After I taught for 11 years, I opened the Institute of Spanish Communication. And then later on, I had the opportunity to have the first Spanish TV show here in Polk County at PGTV. It was called Comunidad Viva. Somehow Viva is always in my work. Then radio, did radio, I'm sorry. My tongue is getting tight.
No, it's okay. It's a lot to remember.
At Radio Ritmo. And we had a show called Hablemos. And one day, Tim Moore, who used to publish the Trompetista about 7 years ago or so, came to my office and he wanted help because he didn't speak Spanish. He was doing this with a doctor that was wanting to advertise his business. And so one day he said, we are no longer going to publish this. And it was the only Spanish magazine in Polk County. I said, no. You have to continue. He said, you continue. So my friend here, Dr. Martha Santiago, Commissioner Santiago, pushed me. And we started publishing the only Spanish magazine in town now. That we started with 22 pages. Now we're going almost 100. Dr. Falconetti has always been pushing us. Dr. Falconetti and Martha are now part of the Educational Foundation. They're on the board, and we plan to do wonderful things because, after all, what we're trying to do is motivate, inspire the community, promote our language, honor our cultures, and make sure that we continue to grow.
Yeah.
And we have had such backing from the community. Thank you, Beatrice, because GEICO is one of our big supporters, and the commissioners, and so many companies, Lakeland Electric. I mean, I'm so proud, and we just won 4 big awards from the Florida Magazine Association. We're very, very proud.
Congratulations on those awards. I think that's extremely wonderful because it shows the work and the dedication, and that it's being recognized even outside of Polk County. So I know you're doing wonderful work, and we appreciate it. And then I think the Hispanic Club and that story, I'm almost embarrassed to admit, but I was not aware that that's how it started. So it's neat to see how it kind of developed from a community effort, still tied to education, still tied to philanthropy and giving back and connecting with other people. So I think it's wonderful, and I appreciate you sharing that full story and your experience with us. We're going to pivot, speaking of education, back to Dr. Angela Falconetti, who leads one of the largest community college systems in the state of Florida with over 20,000 enrolled students. So just a few students at Polk State College. I've had the chance to meet you a handful of times, and every time I see you and I hear from you and we get a chance to interact, I'm really just amazed at how involved you are in everything that the college is doing, and thereby being involved in everything that the community is doing as well. So I'd love to hear more about how Polk State celebrates Hispanic heritage. What does it mean to you, and what changes have you seen at the school related to Hispanic students and just Hispanic heritage in general?
Well, thank you. And I want to start by thanking our chair, Martinez, for ensuring when I moved to become very familiar with the Hispanic community. So she mentioned about how the Hispanic Club of Lakeland was established. So my first meeting with them was because of her, and we were eating a Cuban sandwich from Publix. So we talk about things going full circle.
There you go.
Then they provided me with a cafecito right after Eduardo Tapia. But beautiful memories. You know, at Polk State, we pride ourselves in supporting all cultures and celebrating the culture of many. And in particular, during Hispanic Heritage Month, we take the opportunity to celebrate. We have events across our college our 7 centers. And we do want to make sure that as we proceed moving forward, that we continue to celebrate the Hispanic culture, the food, all of the above, quite frankly, leadership. And it's important, not only, as I mentioned, that we're celebrating the Hispanic culture, but that we're celebrating all cultures. One of the most important things that, I was focused on, thanks to our board chair, when I moved here, was ensuring that we moved to becoming a Hispanic serving institution. When I moved and this was 7 years ago, naturally, as you mentioned at the onset of this podcast, Beatrice, we were at 17% Hispanic students. Now we are up to 30% Hispanic student population, which has now outpaced the Black population, and we use those categories based on how they're defined by the Department of Education, our Florida Department of Education. So we're thrilled. We became a Hispanic serving institution approximately 3 years ago, which means that now our college is open to applying for federal grants that we wouldn't have been open to applying for otherwise. Much of that has been, and I give credit again to Chair Martinez. Yes, of course, it is because she had me on the radio, on TV, Univision, and it was kind of funny because I'd get calls from Tallahassee. I say Tallahassee, but the leadership, the former chancellor, saying, "Is this Polk County? You're on Spanish radio." She's from Miami, but we had many opportunities to promote. It is also because we've seen the demographics. Our college mirrors the demographic profile of Polk County. So we continue to want to ensure that we're offering not only English classes, but also Spanish classes, ESOL classes, and that we move forward as an institution with celebrating the culture that we call our own.
How wonderful. And I imagine those federal grants and opening the door for that really benefits everybody in the community. So as you mentioned, it's kind of, it may start with Hispanic heritage and recognition of that, but really it's a broader community focus and emphasis that's important to all of us.
That's correct. And I'm going to say when we benefit from the grants, because we have not yet, when we benefit from those federal grants, every student can benefit from the grant.
Okay, I love it. When we benefit from the grants, which is just a matter of time. Yep.
That's right.
And then we'll pivot over. We're going to go to Commissioner Santiago, another very impressive leader. So I should say Dr. Commissioner Santiago. You've broken barriers as the first woman and Hispanic commissioner. We really admire you for that and really for the important work that you do. So tell us what you hear and see in your district and really across the county as it relates to Hispanic constituents and Hispanic heritage. How does it impact your role in public service?
Well, thank you again, Beatrice. I just want to start off by saying I'm ecstatic, proud, everything you can think of being the first Hispanic elected official in Polk County, and then also the first Hispanic or Latina elected in Polk County. So I'm thrilled to do that, and it's an honor to serve Polk County. We have over 700 people living in Polk County, and in the year 2030, they're expecting 1 million people in Polk County. So we are a fast-growing community, and a lot of that also comes from the Hispanic population that's coming into Polk County, whether they're coming from different countries, like I call her Lovely Tere, said we have 21 different Hispanic nationalities represented in Polk County. So whether they come from different countries or they come from the north after COVID or they come from Miami and up, the growth of the Hispanic population from 5 or 6 people that we knew back in the 70s and the 80s to the numbers that we house now is impressive. A couple of things So I'm honored to be able to represent them, and I'm also honored to help them. And a couple of things that I have seen throughout. First of all, the Hispanic people are very proud of their heritage. No matter who I meet, whatever country they come in, they just say it with such pride. But at the same time, they're very proud to be in the United States and in Polk County because they know that they have many opportunities here that they probably did not have in their country. So that's impressive. So talking about opportunities, one is education. The people in Polk County, the Hispanics, want education. They want to progress. They want to move forward. They don't want to stay where they're at. And I think that's where our colleges, especially Polk State College, because it's affordable, an open door policy, a lot of our students go there. That's what she's saying. She's seen a 30% increase in the Hispanic population as students. So education is real important, but not only at Polk State College, also the master's level, doctorate level, the whole gamut. Hispanics want to progress. Another area that I see that that we're trying to help out, or me as a commissioner is trying to help out, is the business community. Hispanics are entrepreneurs, and they want to establish their business. They're so proud of that, especially Hispanic women. They want to put their business together, and they want to succeed. So one of the things as a commissioner we've been able to do in the county is provide some education as far as how to own your business, not only in the forefront of your business, but also in the background of your business, the back room, what they call it, so that your business is sustainable. And that's very important. And then a third thing that I have been able to do, and I thank Teresa for this, is our people, they're learning a language. It takes time to learn a language. And I say, do you know how smart you have to be able to speak 2 or 3 languages? I mean, that takes a lot of brains, right? But it takes time. So one of the things that worries me is, for example, a hurricane, it's coming in. If they don't know how to read the English language, if they don't have that information in their native language, how are they going to know what to do? So as part of my job as a commission, my goal is to be able to translate just about everything for them in the website. And that's I've invited Teresa to join me to be able to we have a television program that says Commissioner's Report. I do it in English, and then she comes behind me and we do it in Spanish, so that our people, our Hispanic people, those that are struggling, still learning the language, can understand and have the information that they need to be able to be just good citizens. That's what we need.
Yeah, and that's a great example where you may have a community that maybe because of language barriers could otherwise be invisible or not be in certain spaces. So you taking the time and working with Teresa and the college and other areas to help connect that community back to those very important community initiatives and causes.
Absolutely.
And give them a space is a very important cause. And it's exactly why we do what we do at GEICO for Spanish services, to give access. And for us, sometimes it's based off preference, not just need as well, which I'm sure you run into. So it's where's that like comfort and that language preference that
Absolutely.
enables somebody to participate. Great. So we're going to pivot to something that hopefully is a little bit fun, maybe educational, but we've got some pop quiz questions. So these are just some fun facts about Hispanic heritage and just Hispanic heritage in the county and the state. So guests, are you ready for the pop quiz?
All right.
We're educators. We better be ready.
That's right. We're not going to give you any Fs here, I promise, but I think everybody will do a wonderful job. So question number 1, I was at a conference recently. It was a Hispanic civil rights organization, and they recently shared that if the GDP for U.S. Hispanics were a country, it would be ranked a certain position in the world. So this, again, is if U.S. Hispanics were, if their GDP were a country, would it be ranked 5th in the world, 7th in the world, C, 10th in the world, or D, 15th in the world? So any guesses? You guys can just go ahead and shout them out if you've got any.
We will be 5th.
5th. You sound pretty confident there.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to go with what she says.
Okay, I like it. We're going to trust Teresa.
We'll go with it.
Okay. All right. So you all know exactly what you're talking about. So yes, if the U.S. Hispanic population GDP were a country, it would be ranked 5th in the world, which is pretty impressive. Question number 2, I spoke with the Florida Chamber recently, and I know you all are familiar with the Florida Chamber. They shared that most of the Hispanic growth is in Central Florida, so some of the numbers that were referenced earlier. They said South Florida obviously has a big Hispanic population, but it's been pretty stable. North Florida has not seen as much Hispanic growth, but what would you all say is the percentage of newly registered voters overall, this is for the state, in the state of Florida that are Hispanic? So new registered Florida voters who are Hispanic. A, 15%, B, 18%, C, 20%, or D, 40%?
I'm going to refrain because I serve on the foundation board for the Florida Chamber, and I know the answer.
Okay.
Well, give us the answer.
No, I'll do it.
I'm going to say either B, 18, or C, 20. It's got to be somewhere around there.
Okay. I mean, those are pretty close. Any other?
It's 20.
It's 20. Yeah, there you go again. Yes, absolutely. It's C, 20%. So 20% of new Florida voters are Hispanic. And then just for extra points, what we'll ask is the percentage of Polk County new registered voters who are Hispanic. 20%, 30%, 40%, or 50%.
Commissioner.
I'm going to answer that because this is election year, and not that I'm on the ballot for candidate, but a lot of other people are. So I keep getting asked the question: how many voters do we have here Hispanic? I'm going to say it's 30%.
Okay. Well, there's a reason you're in the role that you are, so you are correct. We're not even going to let other people guess because we know you've got it. So 30% of new registered voters in Polk County are Hispanic.
Beatrice, another lesson, right? Don't ever compete with your board chair or a county commissioner.
Okay. All right. You know what you're doing here. You've had some experience with this. All right. Well, I want to go ahead and thank our fabulous guests for being here today. And I do want to give everybody just 30 seconds to close out if you all don't mind. So we'll start with Teresa. Any last closing comments before we wrap up?
I'm just very, very proud to publish the only Spanish magazine in the county, and the support that I get, the magazine gets.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for
so
being
much
here.
for having us here.
And Dr. Falconetti, any last closing comments on your side?
Well, in honor of you, Beatrice, I know that the mission of GEICO is affordable and dependable, right,
Yes.
for U.S. drivers. We pride ourselves at Polk State, much like Commissioner Santiago said, is to provide accessible education, affordable education, proximity, dependability. And within all of that, the last note that I hope that the listeners take away is that we have scholarships for all different types of students and walks of life and degree programs, but specifically for Hispanic students, thanks to the Hispanic Club of Lakeland and Viva Polk.
Very nice. And then we'll wrap up with Commissioner Santiago.
Well, I am going to say this. We all came here with looking for opportunities, and it's our role, and it's very important that we as Hispanics help other Hispanics with opportunities so that they can move forward. When they are successful, we are successful. And thank you for having us here, Beatrice. It's great.
What a great note to end on. We hope you enjoyed today's show and hope you have an opportunity to celebrate the rich traditions of our culture during Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you for tuning in, and please check out lakelandvision.org, where you can continue to listen and share your input by completing our community surveys, as well as checking out upcoming community events. Thank you, everyone.
I said, welcome to the good life.
Listen Lakeland is brought to you as a collaborative project between Lakeland Vision, the City of Lakeland, and Hall Communications, a community working together to provide an exceptional quality of life. Want to see more of the show? Check out the video version at lakelandvision.org. Thank you for being with us.